Welcome to CityWorks, where we engage in conversations with the City of Grand Rapids department heads and staff. These are our neighbors, friends, and fellow community members. This series was developed so constituents can get to know our city's many arms and functions at the local government level. I'm Mayor Tasha Conley, and today I'll be talking with Matt Wegwerth, our Public Works Director, City Engineer. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you.
How's it going?
Great.
Great. So Matt, can you tell us how long you've been with the city?
Yes, I've been with the city since 2016, so over 8 years now.
Over 8 years. And what were you doing before you came to the city?
I worked in private engineering, so I did that. I moved in Grand Rapids in 2004.
Okay.
And so been here for 20 years.
Wow.
And, yep.
Awesome. So every segment we talk about the average home value and how much constituents pay per day based on an average home value and how much of the budget is taken from different departments, okay? And so the average home value, just to remind viewers, is about $260,000 annually. So based on this value, they pay approximately 62 cents a day for the day-to-day maintenance of public works, and approximately 91 cents a day for debt service, which of course is for street reconstruction and overlay projects. So given those numbers, and I know there's a lot of services that public works provides, can you expand upon those two expenditures, where that 62 cents and 91 go?
So on the public works side, the main one that everyone knows is snow and ice control. So plowing, hauling, that kind of thing. But we do roadway maintenance. So tree trimming, street sweeping, cleaning of the roads, right-of-way maintenance, mowing, all of that kind of things. We have parks and trails maintenance. So cleaning, repairs, mowing of all the parks. And then stormwater as well is lumped into that. So catch basin repair, stormwater basins, all of those kind of things. So that is the main bulk. I mean, it's a lot for public works, but there's a lot. Anything you really see in our public properties, in our public right-of-way, Public Works takes care of.
So how many employees are in your department?
So we have 14 full-time employees. And then anywhere between 15 and 20 seasonal, and that varies between the winter and the summer. Summertime is mainly mowing, maintenance, and then the winter is plowing. We hire employees to assist with that. They're seasonal employees.
And where are you located?
So we're located down by the YMCA. So it's at the Public Works Public Utilities Building is where we're located.
And so how many miles of, you kind of alluded to this, but you take care of everything in the city. So can you break it down? So how many miles of streets, alleys, sidewalks, parks, trails does your department maintain?
So about 93 miles of paved roadways, 13 miles of alley, 32 miles of sidewalk, and 38 miles of trails that we do.
So let's start with plowing. Very important service. So you plow approximately 94 miles of streets every time it snows. What do you use for snow removal? And can you kind of talk through like what time the day starts? Or what time the day starts?
Equipment first. So we have 6 large plow trucks that are equipped with plows and wings, and then ice control products, tanks in the back. And we have 3 front end loaders, one that has a snow blower on it for removing snow, and then plows on those. And those are used downtown and on some of our bigger parking lots. And then we have 1 road grader that does plowing. 3 ASVs, so skid steer type machines. Those are used for sidewalks, downtown, and trails. And then we have various pickup plows that do alleys and smaller parking lots throughout our community.
So there's a big snow event, and we get the warnings, or you can sign up for the warnings. You know that snow is coming, and that Public Works will be going out to take care of roads. What time do Public Works drivers get to Public Works and then start their day?
So we start at 4 a.m. We hit the roads at 4 a.m. But most of the guys are there by 3:30, getting their equipment, whichever one they're operating that day, getting it ready. And it'll take, depending on the event, it's anywhere from 6 to 8 hours for us to completely get through our community. And this is just the roadways. I know some people we do get some complaints about alleys, but they are secondary. We get to those when we can. Lots of times on the big events, it's the next day. But it's just we have so many roadways, and, so many main roads that we have to take care of.
And so where's the priority? So the priority downtown and
Yep.
like emergency services?
Yep, we have the main routes
Okay,
identified that are
yep.
plow emergency routes.
Yep.
And those are to schools, to medical facilities, downtown, kind of the main thoroughfares, and then we kind of work out from there.
Yep.
But we split the community into quadrants and into sections, and each driver has their own area,
Yep.
and so they focus on that.
Okay.
But yeah, it's anywhere between 6 and 8 hours for us to completely clear the roadways.
Okay. So what kind of products do you use to aid with snow removal, aside from the things with the apparatuses?
Right,
What else do
right.
you use for?
So recently, last year, we purchased a new mixing machine that creates brine, and that's salt and water mix. We went to that. It lessens the environmental impact.
Yep.
In the past, we had used different magnesium chlorides for salt, ice control, and we went away from those from a budget concern and an environmental concern. So we purchased a new kind of a larger tank that mixes brine, so it creates a salt water, which
Yep.
lowers the freezing point of water.
Yep.
So we're able to melt that ice and do that. So we use that. On our 6 large plow trucks, we have pretty intelligent equipment that allows us to put down only the amount of salt we need to. So we're not just spraying salt and just covering the roads just because.
Yep.
So we're very specific and strategic on where and how we are applying.
It's calibrated.
It is. Yep.
Yep. Which I think people. I mean, the technology is remarkable, but I mean, it's like to your point, it's not just a sweep. It depends on air temperature and
ground temperature.
Ground temperature.
Yep. And what the proposed conditions are, the humidity in the air. All those things play a role into what and how we do that.
Yeah. So you have your priorities when there's a big a snow event, and we have ways that we notify the public. How else can the public kind of stay connected regarding when they need to move their vehicle, or when Public Works will be out?
So we have the community notification system now.
Yep.
You can sign up for that. An email will get sent to you when that notification goes out. That's our main way that we coordinate, but we do put it on the radio. We do put it on Facebook, and then the reader board that's downtown by Blandon.
Okay.
All 3 of those we put out as well. So just to try to get the word out to help. Our biggest thing with snow removal is we want to keep the roadways clear curb to curb. When we have cars on the road and we're going around them, and then snow berms are left, and then the car moves, but we still have a berm, that can be a hazard. And then if it freezes, and it just gets hard to remove that later on. So that's our biggest thing, is just trying to keep it cleared curb to curb, so people can then park there as needed.
So I know not last year, but a couple years prior, we had near historic levels of snow, literally, right? Near historic levels, 100-year, right? So last year, with not having snow events, what were we finding Public Works employees doing during that time that maybe we couldn't do when there was historic levels of snow?
Absolutely. We always have things to do.
Yes,
as you know, with our list of
course,
things.
Of course.
So last year we spent a lot of time on tree clearing in the right-of-ways and in the boulevards, where 2 years ago we didn't do that at all because we just didn't have time.
Right.
And so as we start to look at some of the storms we've had recently, we had very few branches down, very few trees we had to deal with because of that. So it's kind of that preventative maintenance that we're doing. So we did a lot of that this year, which people saw and noticed. But then we also do various things for stormwater as well. When the ground's frozen, it's easier to maybe get in and clean some of those stormwater basins and in those ditches that maybe are growing, getting overgrown, those kind of things. So a lot of more just kind of maintenance stuff that maybe falls by the wayside when we're busy and plowing.
Right.
But it's really good preventative that just helps us in the long term.
Right.
So.
Okay. So you also manage stormwater within our community. Can you explain some ways and what we're doing to help protect lakes and rivers on the stormwater side of things?
Yeah. So it's a pretty important thing for us in our community. Anytime we do a new project, street project, we implement anything we can, which is usually on sediment control and runoff protection. So collecting those runoffs and those chemicals before they get into our lakes and rivers. We've recently done a lot of rain garden work, and the way those kind of function is the stormwater runs in off the roads, it filters through the plants and into the ground, and then goes out into the storm sewer system. And so we've been starting to do more of those. And those are important. And we've recently done a stenciling project with a local artist to help bring awareness on where stormwater runs to, and you'll see those up around Crystal Lake, in kind of by the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
And so it's important, to us to make sure we notify, give education, public education on where the stormwater runs, but that we're doing, with any new construction, stormwater treatment and collection for that.
So some of that stenciling around drains that people may see is just because it goes on the ground, it doesn't disappear and it goes somewhere, right? And so it just helps bring awareness to there are things that it's impacting.
Right.
And here's what we're doing to mitigate
Yeah,
that.
I mean, some people may think if it goes, the runoff from the road may go to the wastewater treatment plant,
Right.
And that kind of thing. And no, it goes to that lake that you probably see that's not too far away.
Right.
And so
right.
really it's just getting that public education piece and doing what we can to protect our lakes because they're beautiful and that's why we live here.
Yep,
So.
Right. So you also, on the public works side, help manage and support community events pre-event and also post-event. And we do have a lot of community events here. Right. Can you talk about what Public Works does on the pre-side and on the post-side of any community event here? Yeah,
so we're, really involved with a lot of community events, Tall Timber Days, Riverfest, those kind of things. And a lot of it's traffic control, setting up road closures, those kind of things and just barricades. But a lot of it, getting it set up ahead of time and then tearing it down. And just making sure everyone's safe and, it's a good event for everybody and they can enjoy it. But a lot of setup and tear down for those events and, just making sure it runs smoothly. So.
And how many street sweepers does the city have to maintain 93 miles of street?
We have one.
One street sweeper.
One street sweeper, and it runs all day, not every day, 5 days a week.
Yep. So after a community event, that street sweep is out.
It is, yep.
Making sure that everything is...
Cleaning up those Tootsie Pops that got missed from the parade and all the other trash that didn't make it into the cans. But we have a really good crew that works really hard at that. And, Tall Timber Days, we have the full crew. Everyone's there. That weekend, setting up and tearing down and doing that. So
well, they do a fantastic job. It's actually remarkable after the parade or other events go through, and you wouldn't know the next day. It's and it's because people are working really hard behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much. So Matt, how many miles of streets does the city reconstruct and overlay annually?
Okay, right now we're about a half a mile a year on reconstruction. Okay. Certainly we would like to do more, but right now it's about $750,000 to $1 million a block, which is, a block is about 400 feet. So, we're not even close to close to a mile, with what that is. So, just very expensive right now, and which makes it difficult for us to do a lot of work.
Yeah. And so how many miles should the city be reconstructing or overlaying annually? We have 93, 94?
93 something plus with change there, But
what would be optimal we have to maintain?
Yeah, and so, the lifespan of a roadway, if you don't touch it, is anywhere between 30 and 40 years.
Okay.
And that's with decent traffic. If you don't, the traffic is what beats up the roads in our weather, but the traffic. So if you just say, 30 years, 93 miles, you should probably be doing about 3 miles a year.
Okay.
And we're at about a half a mile a year. And so, we're definitely falling behind and residents notice that and, we're doing what we can to extend the life of that pavement. But it's
So what are so right now, how does the city currently pay for street projects?
So it's paid through taxes, through the levy. So the city bonds, which basically takes a loan out to pay for that.
Right.
And then that goes to the taxes. You mentioned it earlier on the amount,
the 91 cents
the 91 cents a day, that's what's going to pay for that.
Yep.
So basically it's just taking a loan like you would for your house or a car, but the city does it with bonding.
Yeah. Are there other ways or funding methods that we've explored or might be more equitable to the public as far as, what are other communities doing? Because we're certainly not the only community
Correct.
trying to figure out how to pay for street reconstruction. What are other ways that we are looking at or have looked at or in the future might be looking at?
There's a couple options. One is a local sales tax, that was done for the Yanmar Arena. You can do a local sales tax to generate revenue that way. And the other is franchise fees. And what that is that it's a fee that's tacked onto your utility bill. It's small in nature typically because it's spread out over the whole community. And that's another way to generate revenue that we've looked at and are continuing to explore because we know the stress and strain doing the bonding route and going through the tax that it can put on residents.
Yeah.
And so we're continuing to try to explore that, and we'll be hoping to be able to find some solutions.
Yeah, and I know within recent years we have changed how we're assessing, right, when there is a reconstruction project.
Yeah.
Can you speak a little bit about how you've responded to when people have said, this is it's a cost burden, right, or
Right.
it's a concern, right, to pay for?
Right. Yep. So about 3 years ago, 4 years ago
okay.
now, we eliminated special assessments for reconstruction
Yep.
projects.
Right.
So the only time assessments happen is for new development,
Yep.
and typically the developer is the one that would pay for that.
Okay.
And so what we had heard from residents back in the day, whether your assessment was 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, we'd like to see it in just smaller increments
Yep.
and spread out. And that's why we started to look at some of these other options
Yep.
and eliminated the special assessments, because, also those who were assessed were the ones directly adjacent to the project. And, we'd get comments like, well, the person just around the corner uses the street just as much as I am and they're not assessed. And,
Right.
the policy addressed that with just, who and where and
The
how.
benefit boundary?
Yeah, the benefit boundary. But everyone uses all of our roads.
Right,
And
right.
so trying to find a way that's more equitable, where we spread that out over the entire community, larger businesses,
Yep.
some of those, the entities that don't pay, that are tax exempt would fall under some of these other categories.
Right. For those other alternative funding methods.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. And
Yep.
so it's, and some of those are the largest generators of traffic
Right.
as well.
Right.
So yeah, we're continuing to look at that and hopefully having at least some options in the near future here.
Yeah. So you also run the airport.
I do.
What is the city? Why do we need an airport, and what are the benefits, and kind of what are you maintaining and putting out there?
Yeah, so we actually, the airport provides quite a significant benefit that most people don't realize. One, UPS flies in every day. So,
Yeah.
everybody's packages they get,
Yep.
get delivered every day
Yep.
and get delivered to their homes. But we have a large commercial use.
Yep.
We have several businesses out there, a couple med-flight businesses. We have a charter business out there that does flights. And then just the private ownership tax base. We get almost $20,000 annually in taxes just on the private buildings, the private hangars.
Yep.
And so it gets used a lot
Yep.
more than people think
Yep.
from both commercial and recreational use.
Okay. How much does it cost the city to own the airport on an annual basis?
So we own it jointly with the county,
Yep.
and we both contribute $20,000 a year for operations.
Okay.
And then the rest is funded by the state of Minnesota and the FAA.
Okay.
So we fund a very small portion of the airport, and the majority of it is funded by the FAA and the state of Minnesota.
So there's reconstruction and projects out there. I know that there's probably a lot of paperwork to get things paid for that way, but it does come from outside our local.
Typically, when we do a project, we pay less than 3% of the
Yep.
total project cost.
Yep. Okay.
Because of grants through the FAA and the state. So
Okay.
it's a very low number for the benefit that we receive.
Okay. So you also maintain the cemetery.
We have the cemetery.
Yep.
too.
What's the most challenging task at the cemetery? What would people be surprised to know about the what
Just
the maintenance and
site maintenance and grounds maintenance.
Yep.
We have a lot of grass and a lot of trimming to do, and they take a lot of pride in their work. And just keeping it nice.
Yeah.
Certainly people are there at difficult times in their life.
Yeah.
And we just want to make it look nice and
Yeah.
provide that nice, comforting, space for them.
Yeah.
And so that is, you have headstones, you have trees, you have everything that we just are mowing and trimming a lot. But it's there for, we do it for a reason.
Yeah.
So.
So will the city run out of room at the cemetery?
Well, I suppose at some point.
Yeah.
We have about 12,000 grave sites at our cemetery, and right now 4,000 are unoccupied.
4,000 are unoccupied. Okay,
So
okay.
we're about 60-some%, full.
Okay.
And of those 4,000, some are already purchased and just people own them, but there's they're not being used. And so we're at anywhere from 25 to 30% capacity, and we do have some extra, a little more space to expand,
Okay.
but not a lot. So.
Okay. I think it's a service, or it's a part of the city that maybe people don't recognize. Just the maintenance and kind of what goes into keeping that important space maintained. So, what's the most stressful part of your job?
Just providing, making sure we're providing all the services that people expect.
Yeah.
And we have a great crew. They all take pride in their work, and they're all, trying to do that. But just making sure, that we have a lot of departments and a lot of different things that, people come to expect, and it's just making sure that that's always going smoothly. So.
And it's very visible.
Very visible,
So people they can see, or, So I bet you do, given some of the stress points, I mean, you do a great job with keeping the city looking beautiful, and we have very strategic plans for improvement projects and things of that nature. And so it's not like, I think we're going to do this year.
Right.
We have capital improvement projects and plans from a long time ago and into the future, right? So
yeah, I mean, 5 to 10 years is already kind of mapped out.
Yep.
And those do move from year to year, just depending on needs and priorities. But we have plenty of projects that are lined up that we're just trying to fit into the budgets.
Yep. So what's the most rewarding part of your job?
When everything goes as planned.
Okay.
Just seeing and just seeing the community run smoothly, people enjoying our amenities, seeing folks out and about, and seeing our downtown looking great. We take a lot of pride in that, and so just seeing things run smoothly is the most enjoyable thing for me.
Good.
So
I've been asking department heads and staff about the favorite parts or favorite areas or things they like to do in the city of Grand Rapids. Do you have a couple?
I like the library area and the Ped Bridge. I think it's an underutilized area. Just the trails around there in the river. We've had a lot of improvements there in the last 5 to 10 years with the Ped Bridge and stuff, and I think it's something that people need to get out and check out more. And the story walk, if you have kids, and just everything in that area. I think it's just a really neat part of our community.
I agree. Thank you. Well, thanks for joining us for this episode of CityWorks. It's in our nature to be informed, and I hope you learned something new today about your hometown and community. Stay kind, Grand Rapids.
ICTV can thrive with your help. The movement of viewers from cable to streaming services is slowly eroding ICTV's funding. Your donation, whether big or small, will make a significant difference. Help enable ICTV to continue to share the stories that matter in Itasca County. Become a member or donate today at watchictv.org.